40 full seconds of logos from 20th Century Fox and Friends, including a multi-era double logoing right off the top. If you think singing is going to make me overlook excessive logo action, you've got another thing coming. 19th century dabbing.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
The end of the movie? There's no way those jugglers in the back were mid-juggle of that many rings in a completely dark room.
This is the greatest show!
So, The Wire, then? Considering this is revealed to be a young Barnum daydreaming, it's pretty impressive that he correctly dreamt up the exact people he would later exploit. Hire to be in his show.
It's everything you ever need.
Your circus may be utterly transcendent, but it doesn't give the viewer any vitamin A or riboflavin. Her excellent spit take has drenched the front of her dress here, but by the time she gets to her father, it's completely dry. How hot is that fire anyway?
How'd you get out?
No kidding. But more importantly, how did you know to meet here? Are picturesque oceanside bluffs just magnets for children destined for storybook relationships?
I close my eyes and I can see
Even the flashbacks are singing.
through where no one's been before, but it feels like home.
That feels like home? You climbed an overgrown fence to look through fog at a house built 200 years ago, and somehow that feels like home. This is the most up animated kid friendship ever put to film since, I guess, The Fox and the Hound.
We can live in a world that we design.
Then why, to sell this point, did you design what looks like Poison Ivy's abandoned workshop?
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head.
Ecstasy. That particular light making that lion shadow is about as likely as my shadow looking like Chris Hemsworth. Also, literal foreshadowing. Separated at youth. Look, I'd let this relationship mean something if it were taking place later in life. At elementary school age, boys and girls aren't making lifelong relationships. They're watching cartoons and thinking about cooties.
Desire.
The Notebook, the song. He literally goes from his father's funeral to stealing bread. It might even be the same day. Also, how does young PT not know that you don't run until you're spotted? If he grabs this bread nonchalantly, he may have gotten away with it. Reverse pickpocketing. Also, how the f does he know where she lives? And if he's dropping mail into the bag of the girl's mail carrier and is in the same city and neighborhood, why not go visit?
A million dreams is all it's gonna take.
Dreams is? Shouldn't that fancy finishing school have taught her about subject-verb agreement? And after 9 minutes of super sympathetic flashback memories, movie hopes you can finally be happy for P.T. Barnum, because he's young and in love, like you were once, even though you didn't turn out later to be a racist, abusive, manipulative asshole. I mean, you probably didn't.
Sooner or later, she'll tire of your life, of having nothing.
Tell that to Cleveland Browns fans.
Every night I lie in bed.
This song feels like it's been going on for about 10 months. Here's a sin for the candling the f out of this scene bull with all the candles. Bruce was at his almightiest in providing the moon for this rooftop number. Little known fact, thousands of young lovers die every year when their partners fail to catch them at the last second during romantic rooftop musical numbers. Holy shit, that song made her pregnant? PT's pencil lead breaks and he gets all flustered by it, instead of picking up one of these spare pencils in the metal cup on his desk and just continuing. He even goes to sharpen that dead pencil rather than switch to a new one. My point is, the real P.T. Barnum was a racist, abusive son of a bitch.
What do you call those two girls?
Honestly, regret numbers 1 and 2. I legit don't even remember their names. I just see regret. Oh look, he invented the rave.
Every night I lie in bed.
Jesus fucking Christ, even a movie mocking a musical that overuses a theme song wouldn't use the theme song as often as this non-parody movie does.
What are you looking at, Flopdoodle?
Flopdoodle? There was no way that was ever an actual insult, you lousy drip gobbler.
Why would a bank loan us $10,000?
Because we put up collateral.
Dear, we don't have any collateral.
Sure we do. In the South China Seas.
So you lied about ships that you stole from your employer to defraud a bank to give you a loan? Oh, you rapscallion, you.
See?
How did you not see that elephant until just now? It's literally 5 feet away. So she's planning to buy eggs, bread, onions, a lemon, flour, and potatoes for, I'm guessing, at least a week, if not longer. That is a high-carb, low-protein diet. There's a decent breakfast in those ingredients, but all the other meals are gonna suck. I realize they're poor right now, and that's actually the point of showing us this grocery list. But if she's got money for groceries, I think she could stretch it further than she has here. I mean, I hear Big Top Ramen is cheap as f***.
I am putting together a show, and I need a star.
The real Barnum's first star was an 80-year-old black woman he claimed was 160 years old and was George Washington's nurse. And when she died, he charged for tickets to see her autopsy. Wonder why that didn't make the movie.
You want people to laugh at me.
Well, they're laughing anyway, kid, so might as well get paid.
This is the fictional nice version of P.T. Barnum this movie came up with, and even he's an opportunistic asshole.
They won't laugh. They'll salute.
He just basically admitted people would laugh at this guy. Now he's saying this, and because it's a movie, this flip-flop is gonna work. Is it time for the upbeat and fun finding people Barnum can exploit montage? Let's do it!
How's it looking, girls?
His one of his daughters right-handed and one left-handed, or did you cheat on that in order to symmetrically frame the shot with their arms? Pretty sure I know the answer, so here's a sin. Teen Wolf, Slender Man, Fatter John Lovitz, Glenn Close after a shitty perm, Daniel Day Dracula, Lucy Who, Tattooed Colonel Mustard.
People aren't gonna like it if you put us on the stage.
Oh, I'm counting on it.
An entertainer that leverages the controversial nature of their work for their own gain? I want to be against it, but my business model depends on me being for it. Though I certainly can understand the excitement of someone you will eventually name Dog Boy jumping up on your desk, the high five wasn't actually invented until the 1970s.
500 pounds.
Off movie. That guy is 500 pounds the way Asa Butterfield is 300. Roughly 10% of this movie is footage of poster reveals. Dog Boy milk! Get your Dog Boy milk here! Everyone loves drinking milk named after a dog boy. So you have the guy you described as
A very good thief.
taking tickets and handling all your money? The savvy business acumen with this Barnum guy just never stops.
Think that that's your only option.
Hugh Jackman wanted to star in another musical, and instead of filming something like the Music Man remake, seriously, picture Hugh Jackman as Henry Hill and tell me it's not goddamn perfect. They made this.
Once you see it, oh, you'll never be the same.
Real-life O'Hare from the Lorax here joins every other performer in not only being a freak that Barnum can exploit, but also somehow an incredible singer.
Come alive! Come alive!
None of this was rehearsed, FYI. Wow, they expanded quickly. They even have a physical ring now, and an offstage dancing bear as well. My point is that the passage of time is something this movie cares little about, and cares even less about how much you care about it. Due to this ovation, Barnum mistakenly believes people love freak shows, when in reality they just love well-choreographed choral performances.
Does it bother you that everything you're selling is fake?
Critic as the villain cliché. Also, is it a problem in your movie when the main antagonist is actually the one who makes the most sense?
Theater critic who can't find joy in the theater. Now who's a fraud?
Still you, Barnum. Still you. Movie waits 34 minutes before even trying to Efron.
Play. Pay good money to watch people stand around and talk for 2 hours, and they call me a con man.
I can't even with this bullshit. Did Barnum truly misunderstand entertainment this grossly? Could he have been successful at all if he was this misguided about the habits of the everyman? While Mr. and Mrs. Barnum argue about how to cure their daughter's bullying problem, it's worth pointing out how sinfully oversized this bedroom is, and also how sinfully overlit it is. Candle much room?
Do you understand that just associating with you could cost me my inheritance?
Then why are you here? You knew who he was when you agreed to come to this public bar and share several drinks with him. This line of dialogue is pure gibberish filler bullshit.
Right here, right now, I put the offer out.
I never knew how much I needed a musical version of Shark Tank until right now.
Don't you wanna get away from the same old pot you gotta play?
The irony here is that he's suavely winning over a member of the rich elite because he feels inadequate in dealing with the rich elite and needs a marketing manager to help sell his circus to the rich elite, the likes of which he is currently selling to perfectly. This barroom choreography between the bartender, Jackman, and Zachman is genuinely impressive and magnetic, but considering that both just downed at least 7 shots within 4 minutes, I'm pretty sure they'd barely be standing up at this point, let alone pulling off these moves.
You better come see this.
You'd better come see this cliche.
All the snobs in New York read him. He does their thinking for them.
This creator bitching about a critic seems overly sensitive and unable to just enjoy his creative freedom.
Are we all invited?
I guess I'll just have to tell the Queen that either all of us go, or none of us will.
Remember, this is the 1860s, but here's rich, white Zac Efron's character championing racial equality because he fell in love.
Miss Lind, let me get to the point. I'd like to bring you to New York. And if you agree, I'll make you the most famous singer not in Europe, but in the entire world.
Wasn't his show about curiosities? He's lost sight of his original vision, is what I'm saying. And now he's just another everyday producer. And here up in the balcony for Mr. Barnum's first legit show for the highbrows, stand the freaks from the show that made Barnum famous. And I can't help but ask, how the hell did those losers get tickets? Oh, and also shame on Barnum and stuff. I liked this movie better the first time I saw it, when it was called Like Jungle Water for Chocolate Fever Elephants. Finally, the highbrow set applaud a show Barnum produced, and his face suggests he is finally fulfilled. And yet there's still almost half a movie left. God damn it. The fact that they couldn't find a real bearded lady and that their makeup job ends up looking like overkill in every scene. I mean, she's about to sing the film's most moving song, but George Costanza's toupee looked more real than this lady's beard.
This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be, this is me.
Not gonna lie, this song is incredibly powerful, probably because it comes from the characters that actually deserve the spotlight. Also because Pasek and Paul should write all the musicals ever from now on.
Wasn't sure you'd come if I asked.
Wait, is there a ton more to your backstory sitting on the cutting room floor? Because this line kinda makes no sense unless there was, at one point, a plan to make their romance a bigger story element. Also, I wasn't sure you'd come if I asked is exactly what my college girlfriend used to chant during sex in order to get me off. Honestly, in the mid-1800s, how much lime green clothing was there really? I feel like she stands out here at the theater more for this ugly dress than for not being white.
Mother? Father? This is Ann Wheeler.
Philip, Have you no shame?
Interracial relationships in the 1800s would have been an interesting thing to explore, but as with everything in this film, instead of actually mining the truth and depth of the issue, this plotline is resolved with all the complexity and weight of a Fuller House episode. Also, his parents just happen to be coming down the stairs at this moment. What a coincidence! And why are they leaving the theater before the show starts? Wow, she changed out of that terrible lime green dress into her I'm so angry I'm gonna rehearse clothes in lightning fast time.
Why do you care what they think?
Leave it to a white person to ask this question.
Who can stop me if I decide that you're my destiny?
Wait, let's hear those lyrics again, spoken slowly, by me. So who can stop me if I decide that you're my destiny? This is a stalker song bordering on something even more sinister. Who released the weight that is pulling her on this rope? Was it on a time delay? Also, how is this act something that can even be practiced solo? Forget even the safety element. There are so many weights and pulleys involved in this, you would need a team of people to make it happen. Unless, of course, you are rewriting the laws of physics along with the stars. Cirque du foreplay. Magically appearing second rope appears magically. If I wasn't asleep already, I'd say something about the physics of that jump and catch we just saw. After all that, she still says no to a relationship. Man, imagine the musical number the guy she does say yes to is gonna get. Also, why isn't Efron's character going all, I thought we just had a romantic moment with the swinging and the dancing and the sweating. Why are you leaving?
When will it ever be enough for you?
I'm doing this for Caroline and Helen. My father was treated like dirt. I was treated like dirt.
The balls on this f***ing movie. Not only is P.T. Barnum no longer a racist, abusive opportunist like he was in real life, he's also worthy of pity because he was looked down on in his youth. Pity the sad white boy in 1835 America because he didn't have enough money for his daddy to own slaves. This movie has seen these girls watch their father go from poverty to starting a museum, to turning it into a circus, to going on tour with an opera singer. Certainly this has taken a few years at least, and yet they stubbornly refuse to age at all.
To making dreams come true.
This forced love triangle is also completely fabricated. By all accounts, Jenny Lind actually quit the tour because she was sick of Barnum's tacky marketing, not because he didn't fall for her bedroom eyes.
I've given you the world, haven't I?
Not really. You helped him make a lot more money, but he's still got battles to wage and foes to win over. You bought him a little credibility, not all of it. This is like me paying my neighbor's rent for 3 months and then saying, well then, I've given you the world, haven't I?
This is our town, son. We think you should leave. You and your freaks. And your spooks.
I'm legitimately confused at this point about who the movie wants me to think is racist and bigoted. Barnum went on tour with Jenny Lind in 1850, 10 years before Lincoln would be elected president, so add predicting the future to Barnum's freak show. And Barnum's historical retconning is complete. He is now a hero who would literally run into a burning building, instead of the shyster who would sell tickets to a fire he started himself. They survived this. I'm legitimately shocked how much this movie turns into a discount backdraft at the end.
Another critic might have even called it a celebration of humanity.
Continuously callous critic considers converting core conviction, creating confusingly quickly kowtowing character cliché.
Why didn't you ask me before? I would have said yes. I never minded the risk, but we always did it together.
Did you, though? You were in the dark when he secured the loan for a business you knew nothing about, and you had no clue when he bought the giant house you live in. When exactly did the two of you decide to do anything together? Yep, you guessed it. All the put-upon people he called freaks to sell tickets have somehow collectively decided Barnum is good, and have come to revive his spirits for one last big musical number. And this is either going to make you cheer, or else you have a conscience and long ago realized this movie was actually a cautionary horror film. Does Barnum own this bar? Why is this wall a tribute to his accomplishments? If he did own the bar, would they name it PT's Bar and Num Nums? He ran into a fire to save people, and now she's his girlfriend? What the f***? Her entire issue was about how society would react. And yeah, now that he's a hero, society will love him, which makes this girl a sellout. I hate that idea. Little known fact, in the mid-1800s, patients were encouraged to participate in heavy kissing as part of the rehabilitation process.
Philip, I can't let you gamble it on me.
Sure you can.
Everyone was already happy. Just end already. No circus in history ever had enough square footage to allow for this fictional moment where the ringleader, a dozen dancers, and 2 live elephants collectively run at this speed. Synchronized mechanical lighting in the mid-1800s? Will anachronisms never cease? The last 2 minutes of this movie, mostly comprised of after everything got worked out circus footage, can just go f*** off and die already.
This is for you.
And with the hat gift, Barnum successfully passed on his legacy of racism and opportunism to a younger white person. Did theaters then have pachyderm parking? Did he ride that thing all the way from the circus? Is there anything this man won't make about himself and his own spectacle? This feels like the final shot from an entirely different movie than the one I just watched. Also, she's playing a tree at a ballet recital? In the wide shot, I don't see a single other person playing a tree. Did she make her own tree costume and sneak on stage? Obvious forced second daughter cameo is obvious. Reading. Also, there's a sucker born every minute, but tomato tomato.
It's the 4 elephants of the apocalypse.
Everything free in America.
For a small fee in America.
Oh, yeah.
Performing feats of unimaginable aerial skill,
the Flying Graysons.
Ew, something does smell. Oh, I know what it is. Peanuts.
Anybody want a peanut?
Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far, far, far away from here.
I don't know what you expect to find out there, Jerry. You know what you want better than me.
I know you want me.
You know I want you.
I know you want me. You know I want you.
There's a monster outside my room. Can I have a glass of water?